a teenage film snob, baby. I was a teenage film snob, baby.
Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob, and it is the moment you've been waiting for. We've been gone for so long. There's been no pod squad. It's just been me in a room talking to myself about directors like an insane person that had shockingly high listens for that kind of thing. But we're back, and we're here to talk about movies. And I know it's April, it's Easter weekend right now, but we're finally talking about the movies of 2025, so bear with us. It took a little while, but it just gave us a chance to watch more, so we're going to have some fun. But I can't do this alone. I'm not talking to myself any longer, so let me remind you who my wonderful co-hosts are. If Batman is the Dark Knight, then he is our Bright Knight. Welcome back to the show, Nicholas Owen.
Thank you, James. Always wonderful to be on the show.
I love how professional and formal you come in, as if we weren't just chatting for half an hour.
It'll disintegrate soon enough.
Hello, yes, thank you for returning to the show. And she is the reason this show is marked E for explicit. She is the mistress of mania, the mother of misbehavior. It is, of course, Maddie Schultz. Welcome back, Maddie.
Yay! Hi, we're all back again.
We're all back. We haven't seen we've seen each other in person about a month ago, which was nice because you had a pretty significant event happen in your life, Maddie.
I got married again to the same man, which sounds really random.
Yeah, probably good to specify the same man.
That was
I said to a few people, what'd you do this weekend? I'm like, I got married. And the looks I got were, hang on, aren't you already married? They were really confused.
Maddie was like, it's a throuple now.
I've just added an extra man in. No.
I mean,
I got married to the same man.
That was the joke you were throwing around every time the three of us attended a premiere together. You're like, we're like a throuple.
Look at us. Look at my two men.
So we
it
have
was nice to see each other in person.
Yeah, it's too rare an occasion. Nick Owen now has been over to my house for dinner twice in the last month. We're going to make that a more regular thing, I think, because how can you not have Nick Owen in your life?
I find it so funny that when we're all podcasting like this, our heads on the screen are always lined up. So I'm used to talking to you all at eye level, but then when we meet in real life, I'm I have to look up to Nick and then across and down a tiny bit to James, and then
which is why we'll never work as a throuple. Because we're like a sales projection graph or like a stock market or something. Just getting taller.
But I feel like I've had so much habit of talking to you like this, straight on, or if we're somewhere and we're sitting down, it's fine. But then when we actually meet and we're standing and we're trying to talk to each other, I feel like it's a tennis match. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not used to this.
But despite all that, we do photograph well as a threesome.
We do. We know
really
how to pose.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that Maddie has a photo of us on a T-shirt. Not today, but Maddie's got a podcast shirt with all of our faces on it.
Yeah, we're stacked up like bowling balls.
That is maybe one of my top 3 favorite photos that I'm in. Whenever I'm feeling down, I pull up that photo. I'm like, yep, that is good.
Look at me, my friends.
Look at me and my pals. Look at me in my pushing 40, and I still interact with human beings. That's pretty good. Because I'll be honest, I don't want to sometimes. In fact, most times I don't. It's good to be back. The last time we all caught up for a show was the Christmas episode, which is a lot of fun. For those who have been playing at home, we did tease the return of the game Santa or Satan, which we will not be playing today because it's going to be too long. We've got a lot to cover, but we will maybe next episode. Oh, you said Christmas in July, Maddie, so maybe we'll do it then.
I think so.
How are you, Nick Owen? I've been talking about Maddie's wedding, but I haven't said anything about you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Busy, as always. I feel like every time we come on the podcast, you say, how are you? I'm like, oh, busy, but work is good. I'm training for a cycling event coming up in about 6 weeks' time. It's the Great Ocean Road and Otway Classic bike event, which is a 145-kilometre...
I was going to say, that's a long distance. Oh, my God.
So you leave from Torquay and it goes inland through Mooraduck and there's a lot of towns out there. And then up, there's a really long climbing segment at Dean's Marsh, which then comes out onto the Great Ocean Road at Rye, I want to say. And then you come back along the Great Ocean Road. So it's a really cool event. Really beautiful. I've done it before. It's really beautiful to ride along the Great Ocean Road, but It's a long time on the bike. So, yeah, I'm training for that as well.
Yeah, that's a beast. Oh my
Mm.
god.
This is the first I'm hearing of it. I've been seeing you in cycling and stuff, and I just figured you were doing it for health reasons. Because we've all been I've been getting into a bit of health kick as well. And I was like, but I had no idea you were training for events. Like, what is it, 145 kilometers?
Yeah.
Like, I'm barely walking 50 kilometers a week, like that, like in a week, and you're like, oh, in a couple of hours, like.
Oh, a couple of hours is generous. No, it's I'm just hoping to beat the time on the bike of the last time I did it, because it's a long day in the saddle. You sort of get off and you can barely walk. So I'm hoping to just do it a little bit quicker and just make incremental improvements.
Is it on a Saturday or a Sunday?
I think it's a Saturday.
So then on a Sunday, do we book you in at a massage place as a little well done present?
Oh, that would be, that's ideal. I should do that.
Can we, why don't we call you on the Saturday and we'll podcast live from the bike?
I'd love that.
All films with bikes in them.
Yeah. You'd get a really unfiltered version of me where I'm just knackered. I'm like, whatever. Whatever.
Or we'll just keep trying to be like motivational speakers instead, and we'll just have all these ridiculously cheesy quotes, and we'll just keep like prattling at you. You'll be like, guys, shut up.
Yeah. I would love that.
We'll pre-record something, and he can like stick it on and listen to us. I can think of like all the Kung Fu Panda quotes and all the Star Wars and Yoda quotes and like,
It'd be like, here's our top 5 inspirational quotes.
I'm just going to get like all the speeches that Ali Omi did in Full Metal Jacket and put that in Yuri.
But yeah, that's me. That's me in a nutshell.
Nice. Very good. Well, I guess we should talk about what we've been watching. We're not going to talk about too much because we've got some big lists to go through today. But Maddie and I went to a premiere back in March, which was pretty exciting. And no April premiere. I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought that they were going to do an advanced screening for Mario. I was hoping to take Zoe to that. And I emailed them and they're like, we're not doing one for this movie. I was like, you're kidding. It's going to be the biggest film of the year. You're not doing one. And maybe that's why. Maybe they're like, we're going to get your money. Which is fair enough. They already have, because I bought another ridiculous popcorn bucket. So, this is the first and only premiere of the year so far. I don't know. I think the next one's going to be in May, so it's going to be a little while until we go to another one. But we went and saw The Bride, Maddie.
It was really, really, really like, I don't know, fun but high energy. The whole thing was really, really gripping, high energy. And I forget that Christian Bale did do a bit of song and dance.
In
his early career. But in his early career, he was in Newsies and I forgot. And so there's a few actual dance numbers and dance scenes, and Christian Bale's having a good old Fred Astaire, foxtrot around, and and I think, James, you were saying the internet was not very kind.
It was critically panned and made about $7 million against like a $60 million budget or something. So it's the first big flop of the year, and I was really bummed about that because I had a blast with it. We
both left being very, very thoroughly satisfied, enjoyed. We understood what was going on. Like, there was nothing that we were confused about that we had to
I would say we left for a midweek movie. I would say we left more energized than we entered. We were like, man, that was cool. Like, that was fun. Like, there was some great music. Like, and like some of the critiques were like, oh, it doesn't know what it's trying to be and it's too confusing. I was like, I don't know. It's Bonnie and Clyde meets like Corpse Bride. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this is like the Nightmare Before Christmas love story that the elder emos have been waiting for. Like, it's so much fun. Like,
yes, it was very, very, very clear.
It should have been the first big hit of the year. Like, that's what it should have been in my mind. Like, it was so much fun.
It's set in like the 20s, 30s sort of gangster era. Is that what I got from the trailer?
So basically, without spoiling too much, the Frankenstein's monster, played by Christian Bale, like finds this kind of mad scientist woman. Like, she doesn't advertise herself that, but it is like, based on experiments, you're definitely a mad scientist. Played by Annette Bening, who's wonderful in the flick. She's so fun in it. And he's like, look, I have been alone for 100 years and I just want someone to love. And he also like gets pretty dirty, but is also like, I want to get laid. And she's like, all right, well, and like takes a little bit of convincing, but not too much convincing. And she creates the bride, and it's this woman who's kind of got no memory because she's been dead. And then they kind of, the course of the film is his attempt to try and woo her and like make her fall in love with him naturally. And they kind of go on this kind of wild killing spree, like cross-country American tour type thing. And it's just like, it's insane in the most wonderful way. Like, I understand if people don't understand the Mary Shelley of it all, and I won't spoil that part of it for those who don't know. Like, that was a bit confusing at the start of the film. I was kind of like, oh, what's going on here? But like, I don't watch Interstellar and be like, I'm too confusing. This is terrible. Like, you just pay attention, like, you know, and then if you don't get it, you talk about it with other people afterwards. Like,
and it's very matter of fact about the violence and the graphic nature. It doesn't sort of make it out to be taboo, or it doesn't make the audience feel like uncomfortable. It just kind of shoves it at you and then moves on to the next thing. Like,
there are a couple of uncomfortable moments. I think the police car bit is pretty, like when the policeman pulls the car, that scene, it was incredible. We were saying like that was pretty uncomfortable. That was pretty tough to watch.
But that was the only scene that they drew out really slow, to really make you sit within that uncomfortable fear. Whereas when there was the other like violence and things like that in the scene, it was very sort of just quick paced.
And that was very clearly like a commentary on like abuse of power and stuff like that. Like, it was very much like you were meant to feel uncomfortable. That was the point of it. There's a pretty killer curb stomping scene if you you know, in the flick as well. Like, not since American History X have I gritted my teeth so hard.
I think both of us were like, "Oh, cool, gross, cool." Like,
and I think I laughed because I'm a madman.
Probably.
But like the biggest thing that people can kind of critiquing about is people were like, it's a feminist film, it's amazing, and people are like, it's not a feminist film, and I'm like, it's definitely a feminist film. But like when like it's 2026, can we stop looking at the word feminism as a dirty word? Like, it's not. It doesn't mean it's like anti-men, because it's not an anti-men film. Like, that's not what feminism is. But it's a female empowerment story, and like, if you died and then you were brought back to life to simply be the pleasure object of another man, or in this case, a monster, how would you feel? I think that's, I think that's a fair question to ask.
But also, every female was at the front of everything.
Yeah.
They were at the front. They were unapologetic. They weren't having to like elbow their way into things or into being listened to. They were just like, all of them were just sort of confident within themselves and pushing themselves forward. And
I loved the whole Well, I love the detectives. Penelope Cruz and Peter Sarsgaard are brilliant in it. Like, particularly Penelope Cruz, but like Peter Sarsgaard's so charming as well. But like the whole kind of like mania that swept the nation, where they all started dressing up like the bride.
Yes, the copycats.
That was such a fun sequence. I was like, yes, I'm digging this.
Yeah, it reminded me of when people started to do the Joker copycats.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of that, except it was women doing that.
I think,
also,
at
the start, I was going to say, I don't know if you got not the comparison, but you know how, have you seen Overboard with, is it Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn?
I haven't, no.
Okay. Well, basically, she has amnesia, and then Kurt Russell's like, oh, you're my wife, and takes her back to the house, and then like, says, you're my wife, and these are things you like, and whatever. She's not.
Yeah.
But we watched them in a situation where she's like, oh, okay, this must be my life. And I just like that Christian Bale tried to do the same thing. He's like, oh, no, we're married. And she's like, oh, are we? How'd we get married? He's like, oh, well, this is how it happened. She's like, oh, okay. Like, I just thought it was really sort of a funny twist on that genre.
But also, like, he was, I found him to be really, like somehow, like, he made Frankenstein's monster incredibly charming. Like, because he really was, at the end of the day, like a sweetheart. Like, he just wanted to be... Because there's a moment where, like, it gets pretty raunchy, where she's kind of like, oh, well, why don't we do this? And he's like, no, like, you got to stop. Like, I'm not... Because he was, like, he wanted to earn it. He wanted to, like... kind of, like, earn the... Like, put the miles on the relationship before, like, they started doing... Yeah, I really liked that. I really... Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, what do people want? Like, what do people want from movies? You say you want something different, so they make something different, and you don't go and see it, and you don't like. I just don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
and this is why this podcast exists because we like things. But yeah, I
We
would
like
like.
risks. Maggie Gyllenhaal took a fair amount of risk, and she made a beautiful looking film.
Yeah,
She made a film where you very, very clearly, found the charm in a character or the sweetness in a character, or like it was just, she did a great job. It was a great,
I really, yeah.
you
Jessie
cast was
Buckley,
great.
we haven't even talked about her. Like, fantastic. I'd never seen her in anything before, and then she went and won an Oscar.
I don't know if anyone else could have pulled that role off. Really, like
the only person I think could have, and it's because it felt like she was kind of doing an impression, is maybe Natasha Lyonne. Like her voice was very kind of like Natasha Lyonne-esque, but that's for me the closest I could think. But no, she was really good in it. And like there's a whole like mobster side story, which we don't really have time to kind of dive into, but that was really fascinating as well. I really enjoyed it. I'm keen to watch it again. I can't wait to check it out.
Did it feel authentically 1930s Chicago?
I would say so. I would say so.
I would say mostly, yeah. Like it lent really hard into like the opulence society side, and it lent into the detective tropes.
Yeah, it's like it's not like watching like Captain America where it's the 1940s, but then Howard Stark invented flying cars. Like it's like it feels like there's definitely like some science fiction elements, of course, because they're bringing people back from the dead and stuff like that. But I would say mostly. And the music was really cool, and that dance sequence I really enjoyed. Like that dance sequence,
so fun.
And then when the cops come in, it's oh man, just I thought it was a really believable love story, and there's a point of contention towards the end which I won't spoil, but like there's a moment where the bride is starting to kind of piece together what's been going on the whole film, and you expect the film to go one way. At least I kind of was like, well, this is where it's going, and then it took a left turn. I was like, oh, I like this. I like where they're going with this. So I think it does things differently. I think it's interesting. I think it's a real shame people didn't go and see it, and I just don't really get the criticism. Like this time, like the first quarter of the year tends to be a pretty dark period for film. Like you see your low budget flicks come out, the ones that they're not expecting to do huge business. They're just presumably filling a schedule. Like I haven't seen Primate yet, but I'll go and see that. But I know why that was released in January because it's a killer monkey movie. But this kind of felt like it was going against the grain and actually doing something for the industry at this time of year, and just people didn't go and check it out. So it's a shame. But I really
maybe it will gain traction like in a few years' time, sort of thing. Like how some films people sort of just revisit when the planet is just in a different headspace, and then it sort of picks up again. Like
I think it'll find a good life on kind of like VOD and stuff. I think like once it's in people's homes, they have to go, and I think it'll probably find its audience there. But it shouldn't have to. It should have found its audience a lot sooner. But really good film, really worth your time.
That's definitely a thing, though. I sometimes think certain films come out that I won't say don't meet the expectation as in from a quality perspective, but people might go in expecting one thing and it's just not that. And I'd say almost the archetype of this is the Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling film, The Nice Guys, which I don't think from what I remember of it was a particularly big hit, but now it's like a beloved cult movie. And, there is room for that. Films that come out, they just maybe don't fit in any particular mold, and they just need a little bit of time for people to discover and appreciate them.
Yeah, it is weird to see like how some films succeed and why others don't. Like, I never would have predicted that the Minecraft movie would have made over $1 billion. I wasn't surprised it was popular. Like, I know a lot of people online were like, this is going to be terrible. I'm like, yeah, but like that's a big game. Like that. A lot of kids for the last kind of 15 years have been doing, like, that's going to do decent business. I never thought it was going to be like one of the top earning films of the year. And then like other wonderful things come out and you're like, how did people not see this? Like, and like The Bride had the backing of a major studio. Like, it was a Warner Brothers film. It wasn't even like, oh, it was A24 and A24 do like limited releases. It was like, no, this was a Warner Brothers pick. It was distributed by Universal. Like, it's existing IP. Like, this makes, on paper, this should fire on all cylinders, and then just fell flat. But we liked it, Maggie. We know Maggie's listening. She's a fan of the show, so she knows we liked it, and that's all that matters.
But talk about a 180 though. Nick and I have seen Project Hail Mary, and we know that's going to do well.
Yeah. This is just like this was going to be a hit from like the first time I ever heard about it, like a year ago, being made to right now, where it is a hit.
Yeah,
and this is based on a book by the guy who wrote The Martian. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Andy Weir.
I really liked The Martian. I thought it was a really great flick.
Yeah. I thought this film was wonderful.
That's a very good term. I was going to say it was wonderful. It was a wonderful film. Yeah, they did really well. They nailed Rocky. So you knew they had to get his personality spot on because the mob would come for them. So Rocky's personality spot on. Ryan Gosling made the character of Grace a little bit different, but in a good way. He made him more sort of adorable and kind of like floppy, goofy teacher adorable. So like I've resonated with the teacher vibes going on with him there, whereas the book Ryle and Grace was a little bit more drier, sarcastic-y teacher. But yeah, Gosling's was more like soft and cardigans and wearing his glasses down under his chin.
Yeah.
And like, making really sort of strange jokes that don't land, clearly for young children-y teens that don't land. And like, he was very adorable. But the film did really well with trying to squeeze what it had to squeeze in terms of narrative-wise. It did really well. So,
and there was a lot of pressure, wasn't there? Because I've seen like a lot of people, like the Bookstagram community, coming up, be like, "You better get this right." Like,
yes.
I hadn't even heard of the book until I guess a couple of months ago when I kind of saw that like the kind of slate of films coming out, and apparently it's huge. Like people loved this book. It's very beloved.
It's in my top 5 books of all time.
Wow,
yeah.
There you go.
And I still love the book and the audiobook more, but that's just because you got more time, more depth, more explanation behind the reasoning, more relationship exploring between all the characters. So you got more in those stories, which meant your reaction was far more deeper and like traumatic / hope, like joyful and hopeful. Like, of course, that's very different in a book than in a film, but they got the main moments well and right the way they should. The film felt slightly more lighter and more accessible because the book is not exactly super, super accessible to someone who is not interested in science.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So they made sure that the film gave us that as that audience, but then gave the everyday man good pace and good understanding. Yeah.
And I haven't read the book, so I sort of can't really talk about the differences between film versus book, but I definitely agree that the main 2 elements of this film is obviously Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, and Rocky. And I kind of think Ryan Gosling is a safe bet. I think I was pretty confident that you could just put him on the screen for an hour and a half by himself and he'd be absolutely fine. So I think Rocky was like really the key to getting this right. And he is so funny and so sweet as well. And like
he's sassy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
like
he's sassy and impatient. I love it.
I'll try to keep the details kind of light on to not spoil it. But like when he comes across into Grace's ship and he's just like, dirty.
This film is boring. Let's do science.
Would you kind of liken him, because obviously I've seen the trailer when I went and saw Scream a couple of weeks ago, and I saw the trailer for Project Hail Mary there. Would you kind of liken him to kind of a Tars-like character from Interstellar? Because Tars is quite dry and sarcastic, or is it more cuddly psychic?
Tars is more kind of quietly, like he kind of knows he's funny, cheeky on the side, whereas Rocky's never trying to be funny.
Okay.
Rocky's like a Labrador, but a really, really, really smart Labrador who just has no filter.
My guess is if we redid our sidekick draft, Rocky's making someone's list.
Oh, he's the greatest
Yeah.
engineer in the universe. Hell's yes.
He'd probably go to number one with a bullet, I would say. But
Yeah.
I also really liked the way that the film was structured, and I am assuming the book is similar, Maddie, in that he wakes up with amnesia at the start of the film due to being in whatever cryo sleep the science is in this movie.
Yeah.
But I really like that we learn more and more about him, that he bet on himself and lost in the earlier flashbacks with his scientific paper, which kind of explain, we get towards the end of the film and you learn about how he actually came to be on the ship, which I won't go into any detail on. And it kind of makes his trajectory through the film. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be really vague here.
I know.
Even more.
It's out in cinemas, so we can't help it. Yeah.
Yeah, even more inspirational, and it really gave me the feels when he makes the decision to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that moment when he realizes how he came to be on the ship, in the book, he has amnesia for the whole book, and the bits you're getting are as he's remembering. So he only remembered how he got on that ship at that point in his journey. And so that's a really big blow to his sense of self. But also right at the beginning when he wakes up and obviously the other crew members are not there. In the book, I was sobbing and sobbing and sobbing because the way they go into it in the book, he's woken up with amnesia and he's devastated that they're not there, but he doesn't remember who they are or why, but his whole body knows they were really important to him, and we don't get that in the film as much, that they were really important to him. So there's moments that you just can't get, and there's moments with Rocky that seem like a really gorgeous sort of friendship, and they become friends because they're in close quarters. But in the book, it's really explained that they lucked out. They actually found their best friend. And it's not because of the close quarters. It's because they are actually these two beings that should be best friends. And Grace throughout the book is always talking about how, like, Rocky is the greatest engineer. I'm so in awe of him. Rocky never makes a mistake. I trust him with my life to make anything. Like, it's constantly threaded through the book how impressed with Rocky's mind that Grace is, and you don't get that in the film as much. It's just that little layer lighter because you can't go into all the details. But David and I were talking about how we knew all this why, and we knew all the experiments that failed to then do the experiments that they're doing, or we knew all that extra information. We were wondering, was it easy to keep up with not having read the book first? Because we had all this extra information of like why they're quickly just doing that thing first and second and third. Like, was there anything that you were confused about?
Yeah, there was, and I think that's just like the sign of a film that is going to reward you the second or third time you watch it. Or if I was to go back and read the book, obviously you'd get that depth. But definitely there was a few of the scientific concepts and jargon that I just had to accept. I don't really understand the specifics of it, but I'll just go along with it. So
like for instance, when they went fishing for Talmeba, like, was it clear why they had to go fishing? Why they had to literally do that instead of flying low in orbit? Like, I feel like they went really fast through some stuff that I'm like, well, I know why, but do you like?
I sort of understood the effect Talmeba has on those particles. I can't recall what they're called.
Astrophage.
Astrophage, thank you. Yeah. But it's not clear to me how. So you have the Talmeba. I still don't know how you deploy them to combat astrophage.
Yeah. So. Okay, that's fair. I feel like anyone who fell in love with the film will go and listen to the audiobook or read the book. Yeah. The audiobook's 10 out of 10 if you feel like doing audiobook. It's the greatest one ever. So, yeah.
The other thing I was going to say about this is, James, you were just saying how hard it is to get to the cinema for you at the moment, which is totally understandable. But to anyone out there, I definitely recommend seeing this on the big screen. There's a couple of shots, which I don't know if you've seen, the Martin Scorsese meme at the moment about total cinema.
Yeah, it's been around. Yep.
There is some moments in this which you can only get from going to see a movie on the big screen, and there's an incredible sequence when they're, as Maddie just said, fishing for this element on a planet. But I don't think I've ever seen anything like. There's a shot when he's on a spacewalk, and like Maddie, you'll know what I'm talking about, when he goes into the Petrova line, and it switches from just a regular view of him out in space.
They changed the light frequency, so you're seeing the cells in the Petrova line, and it's just gorgeous.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It was just.
It's like being in a Kusama art installation where you're in a dark room and there's mirrors and someone's shining lights or things around you. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I was just thinking, we've got a long weekend coming up, so maybe, and Zoe's staying with her grandma over Easter and Easter Monday, so maybe on Easter Monday I might be able to duck out and see it. So maybe I can sneak out and catch Project Hail Mary. We'll see how we go. I'll try and watch it before we next get together if I can.
And hooray for a film that does like their puppet, Rocky's a puppet, and they've built the sets, they've built the spaceship. Like awesome. You're not getting so much I don't think they did very limited CGI on this.
No. I think Rocky was all animatronic.
Yeah, and puppetry. Yeah.
Oh, puppetry. Yeah.
That is the same with The Bride. You and I were talking afterwards. Like it was all prosthetics, all makeup. There was like little to no CGI. Like all the gore was like gourmet. Yeah. Good. I'm glad that they're bringing back the old ways. It's good. Very cool. Speaking of books, Tina has entered her smart reading her era now as well. She read The Fourth Wing, which I don't know if that's meant to be a smart book, but apparently it gets pretty raunchy. And she tried reading a book, Maddie, I don't know if you've read it, called Quicksilver.
Oh yes. So I've read that.
She hates
read that. I've read it when it was first released with the hype. And I'm only redoing again on audiobook to quickly get back through it before I read the second one, just because I want to get the second one just out and done. Like I'm sort of
She was saying that the audiobook is unbearable. Yeah,
it is. It's awful.
Very breathy.
I'm taking she sounds like a phone sex worker.
Yeah.
It's taking me a really long time to get through the audiobook of Quicksilver. So I eyeball read Quicksilver if you're going to actually read it.
I still haven't read Red Rising, but it is on my list to get to.
Nick and I are waiting with a blanket and a hot chocolate and a ice cream and a cuddle. We're waiting for you, man, to join us in the trauma.
I'm not eating like any of those things at the moment, so that
but you will. Like I'm just saying, it'll be the one time that you're like, yeah.
I did have a chocolate hot cross bun this morning, and it was like. It was pure bliss, to be honest. It was so good.
Did you get shakes? I'm such a
No, because I haven't cut out sugar entirely. For those who are like, what's he talking about? I've been on a bit of a health kick trying to lose a little bit of weight. And but I was talking to a friend of mine this morning because she was like, wow, you've lost like quite a bit now. And she's like, do you miss the food? And like, I don't, because I'm not cutting things out. I'm just cutting down. So I still get to have little treats most weeks. Like when Nick comes over to dinner, he brings over a packet of biscuits. I'm like, great. I've made room in my deficit for these.
I'm 0 for 2 though in terms of getting a tick of approval from
Zoe.
Most important.
From Zoe. Yeah, she's a tough customer. The first biscuit. What was the
first one? Was like kind of like a shortbready thing with like something in between. What was it?
Nutella in the middle.
Yeah, Nutella type thing in the middle.
But the biscuits and Nutella ratio was a bit too heavy on the biscuit, which I didn't mind.
Dry and crumbly, the biscuit.
I didn't mind it, but
and then this week's was just like a choc chip, like just a regular cookie with Smarties on top. She didn't even finish that one. I'm like, oh God, what have I done?
Uncle Nick.
The kids getting pretentious though. We're doing the chocolate biscuit research at home, and so
maybe I'm going too highbrow with my biscuit choices.
I think I've talked about this on the solo shows, but yeah, Zoe came to us a couple of weeks ago and she goes, "Mommy, Dad, what is the best chocolate biscuit?" And I was like, I don't know. I've been on this planet for almost 40 years and I don't know. I know what I like, but I don't know definitively what I think the best one is. I was like, do you? To Tina, and she's like, no. And I'm like, well, here's what we got to do. every week we'll buy a packet of chocolate biscuits off the shelf and we'll sit down and we'll score it. And that'll be the biscuit research, and it's going to take us years, but let's do that. And everyone was like, this sounds like a great plan.
Yep.
And so we've done 4 so far. We've done Oreos. Tina found these like wafers, but they're Jaffa brand, like the Jaffa cake brand. We did caramel crowns, which I really like. And we just did wagon wheels yesterday. But we're also recording our findings as an audio. So I'm not saying it is going to be a podcast, but it could be. Like, if we ever run short of episodes, then we might have to run the chocolate biscuit research. But I just think it's like a fun experiment to do. Like, because when she's older, she'll be like, did we do that? But like, yeah, here's the recording of your thoughts in every chocolate biscuit. And the kid's got no like scope for what criteria are. So she'll throw out numbers. I'm like, you're crazy. I'm like, but that's the wild card element. Like, and the weird thing is, 4 biscuits in a row we've done, all pretty much the same scores. None have gotten over 67. I think the most recent one I think was 67%, which is the highest score so far. But like, they're all average at the moment. Like, we're not hitting high numbers, so we're hoping to break into 70 at some point. But that's what we've been doing. But it's fun. Every time I tell someone, they're like, "That's really cool." Like, I wish my parents did that. I'm like, I wish my parents did that. But my kid asked the question, and I was like, "Look, instead of giving you some nonsense answer, let's do the work." That's good. Another thing about books, I don't know if you want to talk about this for too long because I don't realize what time it is already. But Harry Potter trailer dropped this week.
Oh, I found that really cruel because we have to wait so long.
It's a long wait.
But it's coming out sooner.
Christmas?
It was meant to be out in 2027. Now they're bringing it out in Christmas, so it is coming out early.
But it's going to be a hard ask to wait till Christmas. So I just want it now.
Like, no pun intended. It is magical. It is just, they nailed every nuance. Like, I know a lot of people take the politics out of it because there's always going to be politics around this now, unfortunately.
Yes.
But the comment section is very much like, this is unnecessary. Why do we need it? The films are perfect. The films are not perfect. They're not close to perfect. I grew up on those films. I like those films. They skip out on tons of stuff. When they announced a TV show, I was like, great, we're going to pick... They better include the stuff they didn't, like, do it properly. Yeah. And that trailer has told me they are doing everything. Like, you
hopefully
see
we're getting Winky, we're getting Peeves, we're getting...
Yes, we are. Peeves has been cast. We're going to get Winky. You see Harry Potter in a regular school before he goes to Hogwarts, because in the books, he goes to school. Like, he goes to, like,
It's very promising, and I just am holding my breath till December, which is
those children are so adorable. Like, when Ron goes, like, at the end of the trailer, like, just beautiful. Nick Frost, like, if you had to replace Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid, like, perfect casting.
Perfect casting.
But just little details, like McGonagall has the cat eye-shaped glasses, like, because in the book, like, there's a pattern on the cat's face when she transfigures. Not transfigures, animaguses. I don't know. Tina was like, oh, it was really cruel. They only showed that shot of Dumbledore at the end, and I was like, oh, they're saving Dumbledore. You better believe. Like, when they do their big launch trailer as it's getting close to release, you're going to get so much Dumbledore. Like, I watched it. I think I might have watched it more than I watched the Spider-Man trailer, and I watched that a lot as well. Like,
so you know how, like, you know how I went back through Stranger Things before the last season came out? I feel like I'm going to go back through, Harry Potter films just before December, and then, like, that's going to be a really fun, like, run-up for me. Like, you're doing the Marvel one, the run-up of all that, like, I'm going to do. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, the Marvel one, I am...
You're doing some hard work with that.
I'm currently in the middle of the 65th Marvel project. And they keep releasing stuff. Like, they released Wonder Man, which I haven't watched yet, and they just brought out Daredevil Season 2. I'm like, well...
You keep, like, moving through your little ladder, and then the ladder gets along
yeah. Wonder Man, I'm going to wait until I get to, but Daredevil's my favorite, so I was like, I'll have to watch this when it launches. I'm so glad I did, because the first episode was awesome. But I'm just like, we're almost there. But I was saying to Nick the other night, like, up until now, it's been pretty easy going, because the movies... Once they bring those shows in, which are required watching, it just slows down everything. Because now I'm not knocking something out in 2 hours. It's taking 6 hours to get through, like WandaVision. And WandaVision is great on its own. But, like, when you're trying to get through a bunch of stuff, you're like, man, this is really slowing me down. Although I am on Hawkeye now, and Hawkeye I love, so I'm really enjoying going back to that. But I will be glad when it's all done. When it's all done. And I might not watch Marvel for a while.
So, did you have to do any rewatches for our 2025 list? Like, while you're doing Marvel, did you have to then go back and do a few rewatches for 2025?
I can tell you that I didn't deliberately. A couple of them I only watched for the first time in the last few weeks, and they were just so good. They just blew, like my original top 5. They blew a couple out of the water. There was one I rewatched because it finally came out on Blu-ray, and I was like, well, I'm watching this again. And there's one that I watched a bunch last year, so like I'm pretty confident in my feeling on that one. So I think there are a couple of them are only first-time watches, but they were so impactful to my viewing experience they pushed other ones down. But I watched. The last count was 93 movies that were released last year, but I think since then I've watched another couple, so I think it's closer to 100 that I watched from 2025. My honourable mentions list, I think I've gotten down to around 20.
Yeah, I was looking at my honourable mention list, and they're all so on the same tier that I'm like, you're all just in this one little like horizontal straight band that I'm like, I liked you all. You're all together. Come to the party.
One thing I really liked, I was saying to Nick the other night as well, is for the first time maybe ever since doing a podcast, document on a podcast, I have multiple international films on my top 5 lists, which was kind of fun. And not to undermine international films. I'm big, I talk about how great they are all the time, but I always find that like I tend to go towards the ones that really hit with me in a certain way. But these ones, like generally it's like one really great international film, and then the others are kind of on the same level as other movies. But this one, like, there were 2 really good international flicks on there. I think I've got a nice kind of I can't think of the word. But like variety. That's the word I'm looking for. Speaking of which, should we dive into it? We're going to do our top 5 of 25. Do you know how many you end up watching, Maddie? Because I know when I said we're going to do top 5, you're like, I think I watched 5. So...
Yeah. Well, I did in the last month. I watched a few extras that I'd been meaning to, and there was 2 that I tried to watch and then just didn't fit. So I tried to watch The Great Flood.
Okay.
And it started out good, and then I just started to get frustrated, so I didn't finish that. So it's just going to be in my I tried. It's not bad. I just couldn't. I just mustn't have been able to finish it. So I didn't finish that one, so that one doesn't count. And I also started to watch Train Dreams, and then it was just so beautiful and so glorious, and they were in such their happy world that I turned it off before I knew it was going to get really sad.
Okay,
so
I haven't watched Train Dreams. So.
I've been trying to work up the courage to watch that one. I haven't found the right time.
I mean. I didn't have the courage, so I'd watched all the happy bits, and I think I've gotten maybe 45 minutes in. I'm like, cool, that's it, and that's where
it was the most pleasant, positive short film I've ever watched.
It was just gorgeous. It was so beautiful, and then I'm like, and let's just stop before we get sad. I think I've watched maybe 30.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
That's really good.
I'm pretty proud of that.
That's huge. 30 is more than most, I would say. Like, if you're not into film, I would say most people don't watch that many. They probably maybe see 10, if they're having a good year. What about you, Nick? Did you get to watch a bunch?
Yeah, so films that actually were released last year, I think my list is at 36. Obviously, there's a ton of other stuff that was not released in the same year, but yeah for sure. And the way I thought I had my top 5 is a clear top 5 for me. Then there was 90% of the films are in that middle section where I couldn't split them. I looked at my sheet where I chuck in a film if I watch it, and the amount of things that I gave like a 7 or a 6, where it's just so many that I couldn't split. And then there was definitely a few that I didn't enjoy, and they're right at that bottom tier of don't want to watch that again. But yeah, so for me, pretty clear top 5, and then everything else just in my honourable mentions would be in no particular order.
Yes, you've done better than me. I could only have a clear top 2. Everything else under that was I really liked this clutch of 6 here, and I can't order them really. And then the honourable mentions I can't order these either. It was a really sort of, I guess, a well done year.
Yeah, really consistent.
I thought it was a really consistent year as well. I'm more in the camp of you, I think, Maddie. My top 2 stand out far above the rest. I'm these are for me are the two best films of the year. And like I know best is obviously subjective and stuff like that. But for me, I'm like, if I can only watch two films from this year, it's these two and none other. Like they're just and then my list was pretty locked in, and then I watched a couple of movies in the last month or so where I was like, well, that was pretty profound. I really dug that actually, and that's going to kind of kick some other ones out. But I thought it was a great year, for film. It was a really good year. And I think like there are some franchises that got some new life last year. They're going to kind of, kind of reinvent, like have restored some hope in those storylines and stuff like that as well. I think there was some great outpourings from horror, some really great outpourings from genre in general. I think all in all it's pretty good. Horror in particular, horror had a great year. Horror won Academy Awards this year because of last year. So, should we go in reverse alphabetical order, Nick? We'll start with Nick, then go Maddie, then go me. Do we want to
go for it.
I mean, that's the way naturally everyone would do it. Reverse alphabetical order.
Yeah, Nick first. We'll go from 5 to 1, and then we can kind of dissect our honourable mentions at the end.
Yeah, go for it. Go
okay.
Nick. 5.
At 5, I had Weapons, directed by Zach Cregger. So we were fortunate enough to get an invite to the premiere of this film. I think, Maddie, this is one you sat out, if I recall correctly. And it follows a mystery in a small town which is shaken by the sudden disappearance of a whole classroom of children on a single night, except one. And the children are all filmed on various, Ring doorbell cameras and security cameras, all running out of their homes at the same time in quite a peculiar running style. And for most of the film, we just don't know where they've disappeared to. The film's structured in chapters, so we sort of follow a different character who's on the periphery of the story in each different chapter. And I'll try and keep spoilers light. We do find out what happens to the children and where they've been for the whole film. But this had some really great performances. Julia Garner plays the teacher of the class, and because the only real link to all the children is the fact that they are in her class, and so she naturally falls under quite a bit of suspicion. Josh Brolin plays a parent of one of the children who's gone missing, and so he's on a bit of a vigilante justice mission. But I think the person who steals this movie is Amy Madigan, who plays the aunt of the student who did not go missing in that class, so the only student who's still there. And there's definitely something off about her. Her hair and makeup is insane. I don't know, how spoiler are we going into in these?
I mean, it's been out on DVD and streaming for 6 months. It's been out for a while now.
Yeah.
I would also throw in, because I really love Weapons as well, Benedict Wong, I think, is brilliant in the film. He
plays the principal of the school as well. Yeah. And also loves a hot dog, if you recall the scene. They're having a hot dog party.
Yes.
I just want to know because you both have seen lots of horror, you're both used to the horror genre. What set it above in terms of if you're standing at your shelves and there's a few DVDs lined up in a lot of sort of that genre and you go, yeah, I'm reaching for Weapons. Why are you reaching for that one? That's what I want to know.
For me, I think it's the blending of the horror elements, but it's not a jump scare horror. It's more of a procedural whodunit horror where there's an investigation where people are getting closer and closer to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of, it's got a supernatural element to it. The I guess spoiler here, but Amy Madigan, who plays the aunt, is actually a witch.
Mm-hmm.
And so am I getting this right, James? Does she stay young by sort of feasting on?
I think so. I've only watched it the one time.
I haven't seen it since the premiere, so I actually can't recall.
You're doing well to remember all that, because I'd forgotten some of those things you'd mentioned.
Yeah.
I think for me, the weird factor is because I had no idea the whole time. I was like, what is this movie? I was like, I don't know what, and I liked being completely in the dark. Like generally when you go into a film, like even with the trailers, I was like, I have no idea what this movie is. And like, it's not really until the reveal that you know what the movie is. Like it just, like it's not confusing. It's not, poorly written where you're like, I don't know what's going on. It's just like, it's like they're making a puzzle. They're putting a puzzle together of something you've never seen before, and they didn't show you the box beforehand. So you're like, I just don't know what this thing is going to be. And then when you finally, you're like, well, that was a ride. I would say there are, I think, 3 pretty significant jump scares. Like definitely the one with Josh Brolin definitely made me like jump quite high out of my chair. That one I wasn't expecting. And then there's a much more like Pennywise style jump scare later on in the woods with the drug dealer, and like I think it's Aunt Gladys, and she's like a little clown. But it's also like it's a mystery, but it's also really funny. And I find that the film starts off being kind of awkward funny and uncomfortable funny, and by the third act it's so ridiculous, like you can't help but laugh. Like that final sequence, which we won't spoil, like it's almost kind of like this kind of like emotional and kind of like blowing off steam, like, okay, we can laugh, let's laugh about this, because if we don't, we're probably going to cry. Like it's just so crazy, but it's a real like kind of tension break laugh as well. That's kind of where I would go with it. It's not my favorite horror film of the year. I think there were 2 horror films I liked more than it. One of which is in my top 5, but it's a really, really good. And it's just bonkers. And I think that's what's so delightful about it. Like there is nothing out there like Weapons.
And I think to James's point about the final sequence in the final act of the film, it's not like Seven, where it's like it ends with like the brutal reality of like this is the nature of man or something like that. It wrapped up in a very satisfying way where the children
you're like justice has been served.
So that's me. Weapons at number 5.
That's a great pick. Maddie.
Mine, some of the things you were saying kind of match why my number 5 is there. So mine is Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively in Another Simple Favor. And really similar to you guys, it was bonkers, but it was compelling, but there was so much tension between those two, because you don't know if Blake Lively is going to turn around and just kill Anna Kendrick at any moment, or if they're best friends. Like, it's so bizarre, their relationship with them being legit best friends, but also they could murder each other. But also we're now in Italy, where Blake Lively's character has asked Anna Kendrick's character to be her maid of honor, even though in the previous film she like ruined her life and sent her to jail. And like, it's so tense, but really the color scheme and the color key of the film is really like bright Saint-Tropez, like beautiful ocean blues and bold sundresses and sunglasses and fashion. And then like there's like mobs and murders, and like it's just compelling and whack, and I just really dug it.
So does this sort of follow on directly from the first film, or is this like a standalone kind of?
No, it's straight. It's like maybe a few months later, Anna Kendrick is at a book signing where she's written about that whole first film, basically. And then Emily, or Blake Lively's character, turns up and she's like, "Hi, bestie, I'm getting married. You're the maid of honor. Come with me." And Anna Kendrick's like, "But are you going to kill me?" And she's like, "I don't know. Am I going to kill you?" And like, she still goes, and she's still her maid of honor, but she's still sitting there being like, "Are you going to stab me today?" Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like you can tell they both love the danger of the relationship they're in. That's for sure. But anyway, it's just really, really compelling and just funny and just fucked up. It's great.
I've got to rewatch that first one, because I saw the first one in theaters, and I was like, and this is kind of during my most snobbiest phase as well. I was like, what is this? Like, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, I was really tired. I was like, I got no, this is like bonkers, but not in a good way, like Weapons. I was like, I have no idea. But I've got to go back and give it a second chance, because I think, did Paul Feig...
The second one's better. As in, like, the first one I thought was good. But the second one was... I don't even know why I would say it was fun, but the second one was really fun. So because it's a follow-on. Yeah, definitely go back. They're
It's
fun.
Paul Feig, isn't it? He directed both of them. I think so. And I think
Sure.
Paul Feig, if I remember correctly, I think Paul Feig also did The Housemaid, which I watched this year.
Okay.
And it's kind of a similar
The
thing.
tension between two females,
Two
and
women,
you're not
yeah.
sure what their angle is.
Yeah,
or,
what their relationship truly is, yeah. Which he
Yeah.
does quite well. So I should, I think he did
Mm.
Housemaid. And now I'm trying to think if Housemaid is 2025 or 2026. But anyway, it did make my top 5 list. But it
I
was,
feel like that would be this year. I think it's
yeah,
2026.
I saw it New Year's Day. So
Yeah. Anyway,
uh,
Another Simple Favor is my number 5, just because, yeah, I haven't seen anything like it in a while, and it keeps popping back up in my brain. So yeah,
nice one. Nick's face and mouth has disappeared. No, his microphone is off.
oh well, you do yours. I'm
yeah.
listening.
Well, I'm going to take it in a different direction because you guys both went for like kind of these gritty thrillers with kind of what's going on, and I'm going to go with something very sweet. So this is my first international film. It's from Norway, and I'm going with Sentimental Value.
I wanted to watch it. I didn't get around to it.
Yeah,
Which
I
was
haven't seen that one either.
Nominated for a bunch of Oscars. And I tend to disagree with the Oscars a lot. Like I enjoy watching the Oscars for the kind of pomp and circumstance of it all, and like then the dressing up and like the kind of silliness of it. But I often find that the Academy isn't quite in touch with what's really great out there. It tends to be a lot more kind of like, well, these are the snooty picks. But I loved Sentimental Value. So basically, it follows a family, kind of a dysfunctional family. Stellan Skarsgård plays kind of the patriarch of the family. He is this filmmaker, and because of his career, he has often like gone off and traveled away and stuff like that. And his family has suffered for it. Like it's the reason why he got divorced. His wife left him because he was never around, and he's got a not particularly great relationship with either of his daughters, and his daughters are often kind of competing for his affection. One of whom wants to be a filmmaker herself and in the arts and a performer, and the other one who's kind of like, well, I'm just not going to do that. And sorry, I just saw your message come through, Nick. So I couldn't figure out how to check messages on this. And their mother passes away, and there's they're having a funeral, and they're getting ready to kind of sell off the family home and stuff like that. And then Stellan Skarsgård comes back and is like, "Hey, like, good to see you guys. I've written another film, and I want you to be in it." It's like the oldest daughter. And they're like, "Oh, you didn't come to kind of say goodbye to mother?" It's like, well, kind of like, but really, I'm working on this movie. Like, he's still like, even as an old man, still like so tunnel visioned, not really thinking about what's important. But then it turns out the film is written and inspired by like his life, and you kind of find out he had this really traumatic childhood, and like his mother committed suicide and all this sort of stuff. But he wrote the main character to be played by his daughter because it's really influenced by his daughter. And when she turned down the role, that's when Elle Fanning kind of like comes into the picture. So it's kind of like I think it's in the Norwegian language. It might be in Swedish as well, but then also kind of jumps between English. And it's just this really beautiful story of a broken family years later after all the damage is done, trying to put it back together in a way that they can all move forward. Like, they're like, it's never going to be perfect, but can we at least try and move forward, with what we've got, and that sort of thing. And yeah, it's like really sweet and heartbreaking, and like all the performances are wonderful. Like I think everyone in that could have been nominated for an Oscar. I think they're all doing pretty well in it. And it was nice to see a movie about movie making that wasn't about all the glitz and glamour of it all, and more just kind of like the reality of like, if you want to be in this industry, like, it is going to take time. Like, it's going to take time that you will have to divert from other areas of your life, and this is the fallout. But if you believe in the craft enough, you can touch like millions of people and all this sort of stuff, whilst also being a very small family drama. So I just really, really dug it. I just really enjoyed it.
It sounds like a much better executed version of what Jay Kelly was trying to do. I don't know if either of you saw Jay Kelly, which was the Noah Baumbach film that had George Clooney in it.
But I didn't see it, yeah.
Sorry, not to just pivot into another film.
No, that's fine.
That explores, like, George Clooney plays an actor called Jay Kelly, and the impact that his lifelong career of basically being a George Clooney type actor has had on his family, and the fact that he's been in the public spotlight so long that his actual personality has started to just disintegrate, and he is more of a J. Kelly product than an actual person. It wasn't a particularly good film. It came out last year. It's on my. It didn't make my either of my lists of top 5 or honourable mentions. But yeah, it seems like that's a much more successful version of what that film was trying to do.
And I think it works because it's shot, by European filmmakers. So you've got that kind of European sensibility where it'd be very easy to do, the American version, which is like it's glamorous, and like they'd probably make it like way more dramatic, like there were affairs and all these sorts of things. It's like no, like sometimes, like in life, your job just takes you away from your family, and it sucks, and there are repercussions. But it also like doesn't downplay the importance of his career on the industry, and like kind of how inspirational he is to people who want to be like him and work with him and stuff like that. It's really, and there's this other bit, this is really like heartbreaking moment where he's trying to get funding, and they're like, well, we're going to work with Netflix, and he's like, great, so like it'll come out in the theaters and then it'll go to Netflix, and they're like, well, we're going to try and get it in cinemas. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean it's not going to be in the cinemas? So they're kind of commenting on the current situation. And he's like, well, I'm only going to work with the people I've only ever worked with. And he goes to this cinematographer's house, and he's like, oh, you're old. And he's like, yeah, we're old. Like, it's been 30 years since we last worked together. And like the guy needs, I think he has like Parkinson's, or he's got like a kind of a disorder which causes him to shake. And he's like, and you can still hold cameras okay? He's like, yeah, I can do that. And he's like, I have to fire my best friend because you're too old to hold a camera. Like, it's really fascinating. It's a really fascinating piece. I really dug it. Just like, it's very human. So yeah, sentimental value. I talked about that way too long, sorry. But I liked it. Back to you, Nick.
Okay, at number 4, we're going all the way back to January last year. I actually, when I was looking back at my list, I couldn't believe this was actually going to be included, but it is A Complete Unknown, which is the movie about Bob Dylan arriving in New York in the early 60s and working his way up through the folk scene, through the Newbury Folk Festival, and then when he goes electric. I wasn't sure if I would like this film going in. Sometimes I'm a bit iffy on actors portraying these like larger than life people like Bob Dylan or Freddie Mercury or those kind of things, but I got to hand it to Timothée Chalamet. He really did nail the characterization of Bob Dylan, like that slight bit of an asshole and arrogance, but just this underlying talent that you can't deny. And again, I think this is one of those ones where seeing it in the cinema really did help. Like I know that folk music is like quite a softer, quieter type of music, but just hearing it's almost more the crowd's reaction to this folk music swell in a cinema was actually really inspirational. And it's got one of those moments I still think about to this day. So we're more than a year on from me seeing this film now, but there's this wonderful moment where he's playing the Newbury Folk Festival and he's playing The Times They Are A-Changing for the first time. And the crowd is just enraptured, and then they start cheering whenever he sings the chorus. And you can see Edward Norton, who plays Pete Seeger, who's a champion of folk music throughout the 50s and early 60s. And he's really championing Bob Dylan as this new generation of folk. And he has this analogy of trying to keep folk music alive is just like taking a teaspoon of sand and just trying to keep tipping it, because it's always a style of music that's hard to keep in the popular or hard to maintain its popularity. And there's this beautiful moment where you see him watching Bob Dylan play The Times They Are A-Changing and the crowd responding to it, and just this look of like emotional look of relief. He's like, finally, we've found our savior, someone who's going to take it to a new generation. And then that really sets the tone for the second half of the film when Bob Dylan starts to turn his music electric, which then you can see it strains the relationship between him and Pete. And yeah, it's I don't know if either of you ended up seeing this movie, but it's really fantastic. It looks amazing. It's actually directed by James Mangold, who I think did
Logan.
Logan, yeah, exactly right. A beautiful looking film set in New York in the 60s. So if you like that time period, would also recommend. And just great performances.
Nice. Very cool.
That's number 4.
Just checking what my number 4 is. Yeah. So my number 4, this is where things get fuzzy for me because I really couldn't separate out too much. So it could really be in either order. But I think I'm just going to go with Mickey 17. Just because it was something that, like, we've spoken about Mickey 17 before, that it was just something that we'd never really seen before. And going in, it was just so, like, wacky but charming. It was a very different characterization than I'd seen for Robert Pattinson, and, you know, loved the dynamic between Toni Collette and
Ruffalo.
Oh my god, Ruffalo. Like, his name's gone out of my head. Like, yeah, and the backdrop of being in that weird, like, space that they're in, and the 3D printer almost, and the creature, and it was just, it was something new and fresh for me and charming. That I still think about, like, here and there. So, like, that's for me.
Yeah, that film was way sort of wackier and more slapstick than I thought it was going to be going in.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit more, like, odd but serious.
Yeah.
But it was kind of odd and silly, but sweet. But
yeah, very different for Bong Joon-ho. Like, he tends to do, like, more, like, Parasite, like, is wacky, but it's not silly. Like, if that makes sense. Like, there's some larger than life moments in a pretty grounded, serious story. I just remembered the whole compilation of photos you sent us as you watched Parasite, actually. And when you said Mickey 17, I immediately thought of the poster I made of Maddie 17. Which we never put on. We never put online. But when we started going to the premieres and there only invites for 2, I would Photoshop Maddie into every premiere photo where she couldn't be there.
Yeah, I think that was a good film. And I remember when we were speaking about it, there was not, like, you know how in some films you get to a point where you're like, I felt like the film could wrap up there, and then it went for an extra half an hour. Like, I don't feel like that was in Mickey 17. I feel like we were happy to keep sort of trundling along a little bit, and no, that's just my happy number 4.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, good choice. Did we see that together?
No, we were trying to, and then we had to go separately because I think, Maddie, you went with David.
Yeah.
I think the first movie we all saw together last year was Ballerina. We went and saw that together, and then we saw The Room together. I was just literally thinking, I'm like, man, we're gonna all get each other to watch movies that we liked, and I think we only watched The Pest together. Which came up on my Instagram recently under, like, Your Music Saved Me, that meme that's going on. And it's his rap at the start.
He's in the shower.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think I'm due for a rewatch of The Pest. That was really fun. All
right, go, James.
My number 4 is a really divisive flick. It came out earlier last year, and it took me a while to get around to it. It is a Stephen King adaptation, and it is The Life of Chuck. Which I just watched the other week, actually, starring Tom Hiddleston in the lead role, but he's only really in it for about, like, 20 minutes of the film. And it's directed by Mike Flanagan, and basically the film starts, it's done in chapters but in reverse order, so it starts with Act 3, then goes to Act 2, then Act 1, and basically it opens with the world is ending, and they don't know what's going on or why, but the world has started to come to an end. Like, the chunks of America have just started, like, falling off into the sea and stuff like that, and there are sinkholes opening, and, like, the sun is going to stop, and, like, it's like you don't really know what's happening or why. It sounds really depressing, but it's actually this really hopeful, lovely, sweet movie. It's all about what it means to be human and the kind of, like, the finality of death, but not in a depressing way, just kind of like, hey, we are here for a finite amount of time, and we go around the sun so many times, and the important thing is to just throw yourself into everything you enjoy and love and all that sort of thing. And each act is from a different kind of like period of Chuck's life. But the first act, he's not in it at all, except for like in billboards and stuff like that. And people are like, who is this Chuck guy? Like, they keep saying like, congratulations on 39 years, but we don't know what that means and who he is. And it's a bit of a mystery. And then the second act is pretty much just Tom Hiddleston dancing for 20 minutes, and it's the most joyous thing you'll see in your life. It's really sweet. And then the third act is his kind of childhood told, kind of like from losing his parents at an early age to going to live with his grandparents. His grandparents are played by Mia Sara from Ferris Bueller, and Mark Hamill as his grandfather, and kind of like him being a kid and learning to come out of his shell and talk to people again. 'Cause after his parents die, he's like very kind of closed off, and then he discovers that he loves dance, which kind of feeds into the second act, is why he's dancing for 20 minutes. But because he's a boy and no other boys in his school like to dance, he kind of keeps it hidden, and he doesn't really want to kind of share his joy and stuff like that. And then like kind of goes on from there. There's a lot of other stuff in it, but I feel like to give it away would really spoil the feeling of the film, because the whole time I watched, I was just engrossed. I was like, I don't know what's going on, where this flick is going, and just I felt like my smile got bigger as I continued to watch it, and just like I felt really in tune with the humanity of it all. It's just a really kind of wonderful, succinct story of what it means to be alive. And I really dug it, but I don't want to spoil too much, because obviously that would ruin it for you. But yeah, I know it's got mixed reactions. A lot of people hated it. They didn't like how slow the third act is. They didn't like the reverse storytelling. But I really dug it. I would like kind of put it up, maybe not as good as Stand By Me, but kind of gives you the same feeling as watching Stand By Me, like kind of that same kind of vibe of like, we had the best years of our lives for this very short period of time, and while we had them was the best ever, and nothing can take that away no matter what. And that's kind of what I got from Life of Chuck. But I really, really connected with it in a way that I was not expecting. Like, I bought it, and it sat on my shelf for weeks. I was like, I'll get to it. And then when I watched, I was like, you dickhead, why didn't you watch it straight away? So yeah, Life of Chuck, I really, really dug.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, I have to put that. That is just, obviously I'm aware that film exists, but it has not been on my radar at all. So I think that's always like the good thing about these lists. They expose you to films you just wouldn't think about watching. So no, I'll put it on my list, James.
I was shocked. Like, as soon as I came out, I'm like, that was one of the best films I've seen from last year. I was like, that's immediately my top 5 list. Yeah, back to you, Nick. Number 3. Tres.
I wonder, James, should I just say the name of this and we just move straight on and save a conversation potentially for later? Because I'd sort of think there's no point having 2 conversations about the same film. So
I think I know what you're going to say.
My number 3 is Sinners.
Sinners is not on my list.
Okay, I can talk about it then. I'm actually really surprised by that, James. No offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not like Sinners as much as everyone else in the world seemed to. Like, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But
Sinners is my number 1.
Okay, Maddie. I would say no more, and I think we should just move on to your number 3 because, as I said, it makes sense to talk about it at the number 1 spot. So we'll share your number 1 kind of thing.
Yeah, I was like, do I say anything or do I not say?
You should have just said save it for later.
Stay tuned.
Okay, stay tuned.
Okay,
it's all right. You've already told us that I'm not cutting this thing, so
my number 3 is Sinners. Maddie.
Nice.
Okay, my number 3 I thought would be your number 3 or something, Nick, but I chose F1.
Save it.
I knew we'd be so similar, Nick. Oh my god, fucking hell!
I was literally like, "Wow, there's been no crossover. Like, we're killing it."
I knew Nick and I would cross with those 2. I just didn't know where.
I haven't seen F1 yet, so yeah, I didn't get to.
Okay.
There was one for
and there's another one, Nick, that you're going to talk with me about too.
I hope so. So do we just go to James then straight around to James?
3.
You have to listen to me talk again. I'll try and keep it short. This is a flick I did talk about last year on the podcast. I'll keep it short. My number 3 is Companion, which was the AI sentient robot movie starring Jack Quaid and Sophie. What's her name? Do you remember her name, Nick? Sophie.
It's not Turner, is it?
No, it's
No.
not Sophie Turner. I'll look it up very, very quickly.
I'm doing that now for you.
Oh, you're a
Thatcher.
gentleman. So, Thatcher, that's Sophie Thatcher. So basically, Jack Quaid and his girlfriend, and I will spoil it now because the flick's been out for over a year. Jack Quaid and his girlfriend are on their way to a cabin, like to catch up with some of his friends. It's a relatively new relationship, and she's very worried that she's not going to fit in. She feels like every time she hangs out with his friends, they don't like her and they treat her differently. And very early on in the film, it's revealed that she's being treated differently because she's a robot. And not even that, they don't say it so explicitly up front, but she's basically a sex bot. He kind of treats her like his girlfriend, and she feels very invested in the relationship. But when she switched off, he's like, "Yeah, man, these sex bots are great. I love having this sex bot that just does whatever I want." And it's in a world where AI has gotten so good that you can have an artificial companion. And there's all these safety laws, like in iRobot and stuff, where they can never harm anyone and all that sort of stuff. But then maybe half an hour into the film, she cuts someone's throat, one of his friends, which I didn't talk about last time because it was relatively new. And then they're going into damage control, trying to figure out what's going on. Why did this happen? Why was she able to kill someone? How did the safety protocols fail? And then what you find out, and this is a huge spoiler film, it was planned. I think he wants to break up with her, or he's trying to do something. He's trying to get away with something. I think he's trying to conduct a robbery, and he needs to make her the villain of the piece. So he programs her to go and kill someone, so then she can take the fall for all the things that went wrong, and he can kind of get away with a bunch of money, if I remember correctly. I could be remembering that a little bit wrong. It's been a minute, but I just dug the performances. Jack Quaid, first of all, has to live up to the Randy Quaid name. Not Randy Quaid, Dennis Quaid. Sorry, not Randy Quaid. Dennis Quaid. Not the crazy one. His father has been charming us for decades. But, he's just really paved this wonderful career of his own where he mostly plays villains. We've seen him in The Boys as this kind of, oh, shucks, nice guy. But whenever he's in movies, he's always playing this guy who you think's a nice guy, but really is just a piece of crap. And does it so well. And Sophie Thatcher, who I think I'd seen previously in Heretic as well, is just magnetic on the screen. It's almost like the polar opposite to Ex Machina, where instead of the robot lying to you, it's this robot who's trying to get her own life. This is the third film in a row where I'm talking about the quest for humanity and the goodness of humanity and just trying to be your own person. And it raises all these really interesting questions about consent. If it's a robot that you own, surely you can do whatever you want to it, right? But these robots are so human at this point, and they believe they're human. They're not aware that they're robots. That it just asks a lot of really fascinating questions as we step further and further into the reality of AI and kind of what that means. And I was just, it's a quick watch, and I was just holy Christ, how does someone make a flick this good? So Companion was in my top 5 about a year ago, and it did not drop out at all. The moment I saw it, I knew it was going to be a top 5 flick for me. So Companion is brilliant, and now I actually really want to rewatch it because it's great.
I liked Companion. I did think that the reveal that she was an AI sort of robot type thing was it came too early in the film. I think it would have had more impact if that was held back a little bit longer.
Well, I think I agree with you. That's how I felt when I was watching. I'm wow, that they should have saved that twist. But then there was the second twist of it was all masterminded by a human behind the scenes and stuff like that. Spoilers again for a year-old film, but come on, guys, it's been out for a while. But I get it. I think I'm the only person in the world who's putting Companion in their top 5. But I really, really dug it. Number 2, Nick. Is it another crossover? It's got to be a crossover with someone.
Who number 2 works for?
How did I forget?
My number 2 is One Battle After Another.
What a great movie.
Which is directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who I adore, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, who I adore, Sean Penn, Regina Hall, Tayana Taylor.
Chase Infinity.
And Chase Infinity, who
wonderful.
I became aware of her in Presumed Innocent, which was an Apple TV show they made last year, which was a remake of the old Harrison Ford movie. And she was fantastic in that, and she was incredible in this as well. So I'm assuming, Maddie, have you seen One Battle?
Mm-mm. So I had the choice of watching One Battle After Another or Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. And I really like Sam Rockwell, so I did that one instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So One Battle, so it follows Leo, and there's a bit of a time jump after about half an hour, but at the start, he's part of this sort of militarized revolutionist group in America who we're introduced to him as their group are like breaking out of a detainment camp, a bunch of Mexican immigrants who have come across the border, or presumably illegal immigrants, but they're breaking them out. And that's where they encounter Colonel Lockjaw, who is played by Sean Penn, who is just one of the best
Such a great name.
creations of the last probably 20 years. And so basically they're this group who, they rob banks, they break people out. They're very just anti-capitalist. And then eventually they get caught, like Teyana Taylor's character gets caught and she gives them up for her own freedom. So Leonardo DiCaprio sort of goes into hiding with his infant daughter. And then we get a time jump to the daughter being about 16 or 17. And Leo is just basically this washed up loser who used to be a revolutionary. And now he just sits around in the iconic bathrobe, if you've seen like the character. And then the second half of the film, or the most of the film, is just set in a really brief period where the daughter is on the run. Lockjaw, who's played by Sean Penn, is trying to hunt them down sort of like 15 years later or something like that. This film has so much heart, so much suspense. It's quite prescient in terms of the themes that it covers, particularly in America at the moment. Very, very funny. I don't know what else to say about this movie.
It's really funny. It's shockingly funny. Like, I would say, I think I said to you after we watched it, Nick, this is the most I've enjoyed Leonardo DiCaprio, like watching him since maybe Wolf of Wall Street, because he did just so many serious films, like after that, like for that decade. Like, I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like he's kind of fun to watch, but I feel like that level of like kind of Leo just being crazy, him being paranoid for all the right reasons, but it's so laughable. And you're like that score. We were talking about it afterwards as well. Like, there's a moment where Leonardo DiCaprio is trying to find his daughter, and he's like reaching out to all these different people, and the only score for about 20 minutes is 2 notes on a piano, and it is so stressful. But yeah, I agree with you, Nick. It's like, I've seen a lot of people like disappointed that it won Best Picture. I've seen a lot of people say that it's woke and all this sort of stuff. Like, first of all, like, I'm so sick of hearing people complain about things being woke. Like, it's okay for people to have feelings in the 21st century. Like, it's fine. It's just like, it is like, that flick is 3 hours long. We went and saw it midweek, and I was like, man, this could be the last film you and I went and saw together was 3 hours long. I think was Killers of the Flower Moon, and it was the complete opposite experience. Like, it was slow, it was bleak, like it wasn't an enjoyable film by any stretch of the imagination, nor was it supposed to be. This, I couldn't believe how quickly it moved. It was so fast, like it just never stops. And it does everything I thought the film was going to do, it went in the opposite direction. Like, I didn't expect Tiana Taylor's character to throw everyone under the bus. I didn't expect Leo to be like a single dad, paranoid, and in a almost hateful relationship with his daughter. I didn't expect Sean Penn's character to do the things that he did. Like, and maybe it's because I'm naive and I don't buy into it. I just felt like everything I thought that film was going to be, it was the complete opposite, and that's why I dug it so much.
That was my number 2.
Yeah, it's really good. I think it's on. Is it on Max or is it on?
It's
Binge?
on HBO Max.
HBO Max, yeah. Which we've got, Maddie. So if you want to borrow a login, we can hook you up so you can watch One Battle. If you get 3 hours to yourself, at the point.
Yeah.
You got that right. You got a full-time job and 2
It
kids.
could
That's
be. It could be the next treadmill film, so I'll watch it in
right.
4 parts or something.
A nice one. What's your number 2, Maddie?
Well, my number 2 is F1, just
I
because
thought
I'm a
that was your number
sucker.
3.
No, is it? Oh, hang on. Yeah, no, you're right. That was my number 3 is F1. So yeah, okay. My number 2 was actually 2 films that I just can't separate because
Okay.
they just so these 2 films hit a very different chord. They're different films, but they hit a very different chord with me that I just couldn't separate them out. So the first one was Warfare, which I think Nick you've seen.
I did see that.
And that one it really struck a chord in that it presented, such a realistic Middle Eastern conflict, but it was in such close quarters. You were literally in one house with these militant men and a situation unfolding. But the way they did it, you knew it was really strongly centered around something that really happened, and you knew that situations like that happen routinely all the time in war, and the casting was brilliant. The dynamics between the cast was just really brilliant, and I just found it really affected me in that it wasn't a big flashy Hollywood Black Hawk Down style presentation that I haven't seen before. I haven't seen this presentation, and it wasn't handheld cameras, first POV shaky camera either. So like it was just something that I hadn't seen presented that way, and
it took the glamour out of war, didn't it? It was just like this is a realistic look at how harrowing this situation is for these people.
Yeah, and just the presentation and the dialogue and the connections between the casting was just all so well done that I just couldn't fault like anything. So that's just stuck with me. So it's had to just stay there because it's just stuck with me. And the other one is The Long Walk, which I watched this week for the first time.
I loved The Long Walk.
I love The Long Walk because obviously it's like conscription joining the war allegories that's running through everything. But also I love Hunger Games and I love Maze Runner, and it has that feeling through it because it's the young men and it's this endurance and there's this connection between the boys, the young men. It's going to stick with me for a long, long time. So I really like that simple premise, and I really like the connections that the boys are making and the realizations when they're pushed to their extremes. I like that you watch the ones that stick with their morals, the ones that waver, the camaraderie, the hatred. I just thought it was just really well done, and I really liked it. So
that's the second Stephen King film to star Mark Hamill that year, because he was in.
I was thinking he was in the Chuck one, or what was
Yeah, he's in Life of Chuck and he's in Long Walk, and he's despicable in The Long Walk. He's so. You've never really seen Mark Hamill like that before. He's so unpleasant.
He's unpleasant, but he kind of also seems like an NPC.
He's doing a bit of an Ali Ermi. He's doing like a he's been like a like is it the Major? Is that his character, the Major? Yeah.
But he seems very one-dimensional, but on purpose. Like he's giving you a front, and you're not seeing behind the curtain ever. And I really, really got invested. I really got invested in that film.
And I can't remember the actor's name, but it's Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid who's the lead in
Cooper.
it. Cooper, that's right. Yeah. Like if you look at him and Philip Seymour Hoffman next to each other, you're like, oh yeah, of course. Like, he's just doing more and more wonderful work. He's so fantastic. Yeah, I like the
anyway. Yeah.
I want to see that.
Really strong.
Yeah, it's good. All right, my number 2 is my second foreign language film. I think I've talked about this on the show before. It's The Ugly Stepsister. which was nominated for Best Makeup Effects and like kind of hair and makeup at the Oscars and lost out to Frankenstein. And I think the only reason it lost out to Frankenstein is because no one saw The Ugly Stepsister. I'll keep it really quick because we're running low on time. It's basically a remake of Cinderella through the prism of horror, from one of the stepsisters' point of view. And no one is really a hero or a villain in this film. Like, you don't suddenly feel like Cinderella's a villain, like she's totally the victim in this, but you also feel really sorry for the stepsister as well. And basically they're trying to beautify her in the 16th century so she can marry a prince and bring wealth to the family. But it's the 16th century, so they don't have modern cosmetic surgery. So instead, they're taking a small hammer to her nose to break it and reset it so it looks nice. She's swallowing tapeworms to lose weight and stuff like that. So it is gross. Like, I will say it is gross, like when the gory stuff comes up, but it's also a really wonderful, like we're talking about the bride being a feminist piece. Like, it's a really wonderful allegory for the beauty industry and beauty standards that women have to adhere to catch a man, basically. So I think it's a really important story, but yeah, like it's definitely gross. I would also say anyone who wants to check it out, definitely watch it because it's brilliant. It's incredibly raunchy at times, and because it's a European film, you definitely see people's genitals in extreme close-ups, I would say, and what happens after they're done with those genitals, and that's all I'll say. But it's
they're
great.
done with them, as in like they get chopped off.
As in
as
in the mess that's left behind. But it's brilliant. I just rewatched it a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, this flick is unlike anything I've seen. Like, more people need to watch this. It's so good. Like the set design and the hair and makeup, and it's wonderful, and also gross. So The Ugly Stepsister is my number 2. I love that film. All right, Nick, you're going to launch 2 conversations. You and Maddie are going to have 2 conversations in a row, I believe.
My favorite film of the year at number 1 was F1.
Nice.
I just love this film so much. This to me is the magic of filmmaking, and I understand that you could definitely make an argument and pick some sort of highfalutin number 1. This is possibly a little basic, but this is the kind of film that just makes me happy to go to the cinema.
Yes.
Brad Pitt driving Formula 1 cars around a track.
As the underdog. Yes.
Yeah, as the underdog. Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of follows a lot of tropes of sports movie where the underdog sort of like the plucky underdog is fighting for survival kind of thing.
For a comeback, yeah.
Yeah. Directed by Joseph Kosinski, he did Top Gun Maverick. He did the Tron film from about 10 years ago, which I really love. I don't think
Legacy?
Tron Legacy thing. I don't think it's particularly beloved, but I really love it. I actually think a lot of my favorite directors are probably more directors for style or storytelling, like Paul Thomas Anderson or Michael Mann or Quentin, where they've got a real vibe. And I think that Joseph Kosinski's fast coming into that list of my favorite directors, and it's purely for the way he films action. I really don't think there's anyone in his class. Like the way they filmed Top Gun Maverick was incredible, with the pilots or the actors actually being in the planes. And then likewise with F1, I believe they invented some lightweight cameras that they could have on the cars and that swiveled. And so like there's shots in this where you'll see a point of view camera angle of like, say, Brad Pitt passing a car, then the camera swivels around so you can then see his reaction to that as well, it's just incredible filmmaking. I would say though, having said that it's probably a wider conversation, that one of the great strengths of this movie, which is like getting to see the triumph of Brad Pitt's character at the end and his comeback story, is a wider conversation about maybe Hollywood over-investing in the generation of like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. I'm sure there's others like Robert Downey Jr., these guys who are now in their 60s and not really like passing the torch on. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it was awesome in the movie that Brad Pitt won, but it's probably saying something a bit wider. Still, like a 60-year-old can come in and win an F1 race. And I actually really would have loved it if in the film, say, Brad Pitt made the sacrifice play to allow Damson Idris's character to win, who is his younger teammate. But that's just a little nitpick. So, Maddie, I know this was your 3. Was there anything you wanted to say about it?
It was like everything you want in a sports film. You want the underdog. You want the master and apprentice sort of thing. You want to see the authorities push back on them trying to push boundaries. You want to see those people get their comeuppance at the end. Like, it gave us the tropes that we want to see in this nice little fun package. The thing that I was, I guess not surprised at, but the thing I was like, oh, that's refreshing, was I liked that we got to see a character who wasn't like Brad Pitt's character was the seasoned professional, but he was still a bit like rough around the edges and loose because of that experience. And the young gun was really measured and controlled. Like, I like that the young gun wasn't like up himself and cocky and showy, and he seemed very understanding of he needs to make right steps and right moves. His career is limited and he was controlled. So like, he was always sort of clean cut, and he was very millennial, and he had, his plain outfits, and he was very like rigid and upright, whereas Brad Pitt's character was the one that was covered in like stupid tattoos, like pizzas and like cartoon characters. And like, you could tell that the vibe of him was, I'm going to sort of feel it and live it and do it. Whereas the other character was, I'm going to practice on repeat and have this sort of obsessive nature about my role as a driver. Whereas his nature was, I'm trusting my gut and my instincts, and that's what's made me good as a driver. So I like that we saw the two sides of those sorts of, I guess, people that exist in the world of F1. And I just like the F1 as well, because I grew up with F1. So same things that Nick said, really. Gave us what we wanted, and it was a good, neat little happy package.
I gotta check it out. I just haven't got around to it yet, so maybe I'll come back next time and be like, hey, F1's in my top 5 now.
It'll just make you happy. It's not, it's not particularly challenging. It doesn't raise any sort of moral questions that really will stick with you, but it's just so much fun. And I think that like they go hand in hand, is like, something like One Battle After Another does ask those moral questions, and you think about it a lot, but as equally as important is just going to the movies to have fun, and this is what that is.
Yeah. Nice one. Maddie, you didn't mention what your number 1 is yet.
My number 1. My number 1 is Sinners.
Nice. What?
I'm so basic.
I'm going to get more basic, don't worry. I think we all chose basic picks for number 1. But to Nick's point, like, isn't that why we go to the movies, to just enjoy ourselves? So,
So I watched Sinners at home, with David. And it's very rare that we both come away from a film being like, I thoroughly enjoyed that, and then also wanting to tell other people to go and watch it. Normally David's not very like, you need to see this film. But David was like, yes, we really enjoyed that. Like, the next time we saw our parents or the in-laws, we were like, have you seen this? You should watch it. I love a film centered around music. I love a film centered around Prohibition, the South. I love a good dance hall. I love a good
Irish dancing.
I do. I love a good jig and a fiddle. But also, I just think it was so beautifully paced. Its acts, the way it broke into its 3-act system worked really well. There was just some really fast Southern dialogue that really threw you. Like, pretty much everything that Haley Steinfeld says, you're like, okay.
Yeah,
she's great in the flick. Yeah,
Some of her lines will singe
Yeah.
your eyebrows a little bit.
Exactly. Anything she opens her mouth, you're like, whoa, Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
But I loved the twin dynamic.
Yeah, Smoke and Stack, so good.
I love
What a great couple of names.
Yes,
Like-
what a great few names. Yeah, I love that it's all around one night.
Mm.
Those
Yeah,
styles of film centered around one day and one night sort of thing. They really make the screenwriters work to make it work. It was just a whole heap lot of fun. Twists I didn't see coming, visuals that I wasn't ready for and just soaked up. Performances were excellent. Casting was excellent. End credit scene, gorgeous.
Oh, I forgot about that. The 90s credit scene. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it was great.
I agree with you about the casting. Like, the cast goes so deep on that. And I've always loved Delroy Lindo, who plays is he play piano or harmonica in the... I can't actually... Is it harmonica? I don't know.
Piano player.
Yeah, I think he's a piano player.
Yeah. He's amazing. And Miles Caton, I think this was his first film, who plays the young guy. He is incredible
good.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole sequence where they do like kind of like the time shift of like music through the era as well. He's like, that's... I honestly was like, when I saw that got nominated for Best Song, I was like, you know what? Like, K-pop Demon Hunters is the popular one, but they might not get it because this is great. Yeah.
That sequence was beautiful.
Yeah.
So good.
So immersive. Yeah.
I feel like I need to like clarify because I'm sure people will be up in arms. Like, I love Sinners. I just enjoyed other films more.
Yeah, and like, ask why you hated it so much.
No one wants to address the fact that Sinners is very similar to From Dusk Till Dawn. Like,
I haven't seen it. Oh, okay.
I haven't
seen it.
Like, when I got nominated for Best Original Screenplay, I was like, is it original? Because there's a film 30 years ago about two criminals on the run who spend the night in a bar that's owned by vampires, and it all takes place in one night, and instead of African-American culture, it's Mexican culture, and, like, there's even a rock band, but it's not as heavily set. Look, Sinners is the superior film, I'm not gonna lie. Like, but there's a lot of similarities, and no one seems to want to talk about that. I just felt, for me personally, Sinners was a little bit too long. I would have shaved maybe 15 minutes off it, and definitely, like, then the post-credit sequence also is very long as well. Like, it's cool, but I'm just like, man, like, this, like, when the morning came, like, oh, well, the film's over, and they're like, nope, we're going to keep going. There's more to tell. And so for me, I felt like, just like the Black Panther films, I just think the runtime's a little bit indulgent. I think you could just tighten it up a little bit, but I really like it. It's just not, I just enjoyed 5 other films more than it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But also, you watch so many more that, like, the films that I guess I got around to from that year level. Like, and also, again, like, that one stood above the others for just so many, like, category reasons, so many across the board reasons. But then,
But I agree with Cast. I think performance-wise, like, it doesn't get much better. Like, everyone's great in that. So, like, Won Mi as the as I think, is it Smoke's love interest, or ex-lover, and they're like, we're not together anymore, but then they definitely are together. Like, it's a very sexy film, I will say, but also, like, at the same time, it's like the vampire movie I could show my mother. Like, I remember when I came, I think my mum actually borrowed it the other day. She was like, oh, I don't want to watch vampires. I'm like, no, like, you'll like Sinners. Like, Sinners, like, yes, it's a vampire film, but it's not even really about that. And the brilliant Jack O'Connell as the vampire as well.
He was great.
Cool. Yeah.
My number one is a flick that is just translates to pure joy for me. I've watched it 6 times, I think. 6 times in a year, which is a lot for me. Like, in the old days, I'd watch things over and over again, but now I don't really have time to watch things multiple times. I saw it twice in theaters. Hang on, let me make some let's bring some ceremony to this. Let's
he's getting the DVD out.
No, I'm not getting the DVD.
No,
I am. Oh no, we're getting devoured by Galactus. Good thing it's an audio podcast, and I don't want to say that. Fantastic Four: First Steps. I it's not even. I love this film. Like, this film just feels like an extension of me at this point. Like, I've been a Fantastic Four fan forever, like for 30 years. Like, I loved the cartoon when I was a kid. I've enjoyed every iteration to some point, but they never quite got it right. Like, it was enough to be entertaining, and like, there's a lot of pressure on this film. I know a lot of people feel like it's underwhelming. It doesn't do enough, but I don't need another huge CGI alien battle at the end of a film, because I've seen it so many times, and we're going to get it this year with Doomsday. But what I wanted to see was a family of superheroes who love each other and work together and like get challenged in a way they haven't seen before. And like, they just ticked every box to me. The casting is perfect, even though at first I was like, I don't know about it. Like, I don't know about Pedro. Like, he wouldn't be my pick for Mr. Fantastic, but he's brilliant and charming. And like, there's a line he says in the film where I felt so seen. I was talking to my wife about it because she's like, "You think you're Mr. Fantastic?" I'm like, I don't. But he says something in the film that I relate to a lot, where Galactus is coming, and the only way he won't devour the Earth is if they give him their child. And Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm is like, "You've already considered it," and he goes, "That's my job. My job is to consider everything, all the worst possible scenarios, and then try to come up with a better solution." And I feel like in my life constantly, I'm always developing contingencies. Like, the way that my brain works is whenever like I have downtime, like, all right, well, the worst, like, when, like, this messed up. Like, the whole time Tina was pregnant, and she knows this. I was like, well, it probably won't happen. There's a very small chance that she could die during childbirth. So if that happens, how do I overcome that? Like, that's the way my brain works. Like, it's constantly trying to solve problems. So when he said that, I was like, oh my goodness, I feel so seen. Vanessa Kirby is the heart and soul of this flick. Like, she's clearly the leader of the team. Like, she gets to be funny and strong and vulnerable and brilliant. Like, gets to do so many more things than what women usually get to do in superhero films. Like, generally, like in superhero films, it almost feels like because women haven't been represented very well in the genre for a long time, they're like, well, she's just tough. Like, that's how they overcompensate. Like, she's just a tough girl. Whereas this, this is a film about motherhood. This is a film about being a parent. This is a film not just about being a parent to a newborn baby, but being a parent to the world, and like how all of the Earth people are your children, and how do we keep you safe without trading lives? Like, she has a beautiful line as well. She's like, I won't sacrifice my child for this planet, but I won't sacrifice this planet for my child. I'm like, oh my God, like, what a beautifully powerful thing to say in a cartoon, like a movie about like a guy with rubber arms. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so beautiful. Ebon, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but he's Richie in The Bear as the Thing, is just so exactly what that character needs to be. Like, he looks like a monster, but he's just the sweetest, most gentlest character. And Joseph Quinn, like, as Johnny Storm. Julia Garner's having a great year as Silver Surfer, and like Galactus looks like Galactus and like behaves like Galactus and has a big purple helmet and looks ridiculous, but in the most joyful way possible. Like, I have watched that movie so many times. I'm going to watch it again soon because I'm watching all the Marvel films, and I just don't get sick of it. I do not get sick of it. And like, people critique the visuals, but I'm like, I'm sorry, did you see Silver Surfer riding through an event horizon in a black hole? Like, I've never seen anything like that before, and it's beautiful. Like, it's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. It is a total popcorn film. It is not thematically as strong as half the stuff on my list. It's not Sinners by any stretch of the imagination, but boy, does it make me happy. So Fantastic
I think
Four,
the thing that
steps.
I responded to with that film was something that you were saying before, that central family feeling. Like, I felt watching it, I felt this like thread between them all, pulling them sort of centrally back to each other all the time. There was this sort of us familiar dynamic to them that I really responded to, because I used to live with my best friend and David's best friend, and those two people are married. So it was two best friends who married two best friends. Yeah. So that's a sitcom all in itself. But we lived together for almost 10 years, and it was two best friends married two best friends. And just, I resonated with that feeling where everyone kind of centrally has this thread. We're going off to work, we're going off to hobbies, we're doing other things, but there's this like pulling this central thread back to each other all the time, and your world doesn't revolve around the other people, but there's this echo of those other people walking alongside you always. And I felt, especially in the first act of that film, I felt this sort of non-negotiable, thread and tie that they all have to each other. And I responded to that because I've like lived that and I loved that. So yeah.
And like just the retro futuristic style of it, like you've never seen anything in a Marvel film like this. Like it's futuristic, but also it's the 60s, and you've got like the kind of Ed Sullivan Show style ripoff where like they're not just superheroes, they're celebrities. Like everyone's like, oh, it's them. Like it's just everything about it. And the use of practical effects with Herbie and the Fantastic Art. Like it's just, I don't know, like it just every box that I need to be ticked. And like this film had like I had high expectations. I was like, you need to deliver. Like, because we have gone 30 years without a really wonderful Fantastic Four film. Like, you need to. So I 100% understand the critiques people have for it, but for me, I'm like, I'm just happy, and I'm 7 years old again. Like, and that's what I wanted that film to do. So, with the exception of a couple of movies, we had some pretty different lists. Like, there's not too much crossover. Well done, guys.
Real ones know about Sinners and F1, obviously.
I was surprised neither of you like bullied me about not having Jurassic World on there.
I did. I was waiting for it, and when it didn't come, I was surprised. But I saw Jurassic World. I was like, look, it's fun. Like the only tipping point for that film, I think, is our sexy friend John Bailey. Like I think he's the strongest part of that.
The D-Rex was the greatest thing in my life.
D for Dodoy.
It's just excellent. Hey, I'm just going to rattle off my honourable mentions before I might have to run because I can hear my children.
We'll do a quick run through honourable mentions and we'll get the hell out of here. Let's do it.
Go on, Nick. You do your honourable mentions first.
Okay, I had Warfare, which we talked about already. Ballerina, which we were lucky enough to go to the premiere of. That was a great time. That was from the world of John Wick or however they're billing it. The Order, which was a really great film starring Jude Law and Nicholas Hoult, set in the 70s, I want to say. And Nicholas Hoult plays the leader of like a white supremacist group, and they're trying to setting up a heist to get some money to fund their terrorism. Jude Law plays the FBI agent who's trying to stop them. It's actually really good.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Superman, I had a really good time with. The Brutalist was really fantastic. A Real Pain, which I know you both really liked.
Yes, that was a great flick.
Frankenstein, which came out late in the year. 28 years later, and Conclave rounds out my honourable mentions.
Oh, Conclave's brilliant. I remember I watched that flick. I was trying to watch Oscar films, and I was like, this has the most boring poster. This is going to be medicine. And it ended up being my favourite of all the nominees. I really liked it.
And sorry, I forgot one, The Amateur, which was just a really fun, like, CIA kind of espionage type one that had Rami Malek in it.
Nice.
That was good as well. Maddie?
For funsies, for like a good old time, I definitely had Jurassic World for a good old time. Also Predator Badlands, I'd put
that was good
in there. It was a good old fun time.
That was fun.
Really good little like trio dynamic happening in that film. It was good fun. I'd definitely say check it out. Lumped in together, I loved just the operatic feeling of Frankenstein and Dracula. So, really liked what we got to see with those and the sort of avenue we took with those storylines.
Wait, which Dracula?
Oh, is it not 2025? Whoops. The Dracula, forgotten what it's called. It's,
I'm like, did I forget it? Did I miss a Dracula movie?
Maybe it's 2026. Let me have a look. No, it's just called Dracula 2025. It's by Thingo, who did Lilo Dallas Multipass. What's it fucking?
Oh, Luc Besson.
Yeah, I think it's by him.
Oh, okay. How did I miss a Dracula movie? Okay, cool.
It's really pretty.
Okay, I'll check it out. I can't believe I missed it
too. What?
Oh, okay. Dracula 2025.
Okay.
Oh no, Roger Ebert. Sorry.
Nosferatu?
No, it's not Nosferatu. It's called Dracula.
Okay.
I promise.
Roger Ebert was a critic who's no longer with us, so
then I'm really confused.
No,
So
you mean Eggers?
No,
Robert
now I'm
Eggers.
trying
He
to
did
figure out.
Nosferatu, and she says it's not
Okay,
Nosferatu.
is it called
All right.
Dracula: A Love Tale? Yes, it is. A
Okay.
love tale. It's definitely a
Ah.
love story.
Okay.
It's definitely really centered around him trying to find his Elizabeth. He's Elizabeth.
Okay.
Really kind of leans in hard to
Okay.
costuming, really big castles. There's gargoyles in it, and the gargoyles are all like cool, sassy minions, basically. Worth a look. It's just, yeah. I really dug it. Again, ballerina, super fun spin on that. She was in no way like a damsel, thank God. So it was great. 28 years, great, except I hated the ending. Hated it.
I love the ending.
Hated it. I hate it so much. I just wish it was like a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
If it was a post-credit scene, I would have been like flawless. But the ending, I was like, fuck, this fucked it up. Good luck, have fun, don't die. I would say if you liked Mickey 17, you'll like this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Sam Rockwell basically helping this group of people get through a really wacky kind of apocalypse sort of thing. Hilarious. And A Real Pain was...
Yeah.
A Real Pain I was going to put in my top 5, but I don't know if I'd revisit it again anytime soon. Like, it was just so strong that I'm like, I don't know if I would go back to it. If it feels more like, like Schindler's List you love, but you're like, I'm never going back. A Real Pain, I don't think I'm ever going back. It was very visceral. So yes, they were mine.
Nice. I'm going to rattle through. There's a couple of similar ones as well. The Running Man, I really dug. It was not quite a top 5 one for me, but I really enjoyed Edgar Wright's take on it. The Long Walk, which you talked about, Maddie. Roofman with Channing Tatum was wonderful. Really, really great film, Roofman. There's a documentary, I'm Chevy Chase and You're Not. I think it's really misunderstood. People didn't get what it was trying to do, but it actually made Chevy Chase more sympathetic, even though we all agree he's still an asshole. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. If I never watch that film again, I'll be happy because it's wonderful, but boy, is it stressful. Maddie, as a parent, you will relate. Joker's Wild, which was that short film that I interviewed the director about last year. That was a really cool flick. The Monkey, which was directed by Osgood Perkins, which is kind of like a Final Destination clone. It's really, really fun. Sinners, which we talked about a lot. Thunderbolts, I really dug. Clown in a Cornfield was just one of the dumbest things I saw, and in the best possible way.
Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it had a good twist though.
Clown in a Cornfield.
Yeah, it's a horror flick.
Sounds like a song.
Yeah. Summer of '69. I interviewed director Gillian Bell about that one. That was a really fun teen sex comedy. Superman, Weapons, we talked about a bunch. The Naked Gun, I think, is a really fun kind of sequel reboot of that franchise. I laughed non-stop. The third act dips a little bit, but it's really, really funny. One Battle After Another. Bring Her Back, by the boys who did Talk to Me. It's a really sad horror film about the loss of a child and kind of coping. Sally Hawkins is brilliant in it. She should have been nominated for an Oscar. Dangerous Animals, which was an Aussie horror film starring Jai Courtney as a guy who lures people out into the middle of the ocean and then uses sharks as his weapon. K-pop Demon Hunters was really fun, and the music slaps, as the kids would say. Together, which was in my top 5 for the longest time. That was the Dave Franco and Alison Brie horror film. Really, really good. Fantastic. It was my favorite horror film other than Ugly Stepsister. It was just shy of the top 5. And then Paige Darcy, Reluctant Detective, which is an independent Canadian film, which is kind of like Nancy Drew if she grew up and became an alcoholic and like just a non-functional member of society. It's really, really fun. And my review quote is on the DVD box art, so you should go check that out. 2025 was a great year for movies.
Here. I agree.
Agreed.
That's it. I think. Does anyone have any final thoughts? I know we've got to get out of here. It's been almost 2 hours, so we definitely need to...
I forgot on my honourable mention list. I watched Singers, which was a short film, and I think it was nominated for an Academy, and it was great.
Our friend of the show, Andrew, who we all went on his show, The Revision Number, he interviewed the director of Sinners. Sorry, Singers, not Sinners.
Singers,
Well,
it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix now, so you can
It's meant to
check
be
it out.
wonderful.
It's a really lovely 18 minutes. It's great.
Excellent. Very, very good. We're going to be back in a few weeks. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next and when we're back. We're still figuring out our schedules. But thank you all for listening. Next week, I interview Lauren Alenia. She is a wonderful actress, and she does a killer Harley Quinn voice. And you're going to hear that on the show because I interviewed her about her playing that role coming up. But that's our best of 2025. We will speak to you all soon. Thank you for listening. That's it from us here at Films on HQ, where it's movie night every night. Catch you later. I was like, how do I end this fucking